I went ahead and thought maybe it's my time to contribute to this podcast in a game playing sort of way. A surprise announcement happened last week, and one of my favorite games of all time got a single player expansion, and that's Gwent. Gwent got its Rogue Mage expansion, and what it is basically, it's the card game Gwent, but in a single player roguelike. And I've been playing that basically all week, and I've been really enjoying it. I guess we'll go through it real quick. Basically, if you've played Gwent, it's a card. If you haven't played Gwent, it's a card game where there's two lanes on each side, and you put in cards to attack or do moves or specialties from those cards in order to get a higher score than the other person. And what they do in this basically with Gwent, and like with most card games, is about synergizing with cards, basically getting different combos set together to make more points or do more damage to the other player, and there's lots of strategy involved in that. As someone who played Gwent for years, I've been playing for years now. It definitely was fun, but the issue I have with it, mainly because I want more people to play Gwent because I think it's really good. This game does the barest of minimum to get people into Gwent to understand how to play the game. I mean, they'll go over like the basics to basically say, hey, this is how you put down a card. This is what happens when you do this card, and this, this and that. But they don't go over about synergies and combos and special moves and stuff like that. You have to learn all that on your own. And for some, that might be a cool thing because you want to dive into something and really learn how to play. But I don't think that would really work in a single-player expansion very well. I think you'd really want to go into granular detail about how certain things work and why this is a good idea to do X and maybe not Y. So I think if you're not well versed into Gwent, you may have a bit of a learning curve to play the game. But other than that, I mean, for a single player Gwent game, I really enjoy it. I'm having a lot of fun playing it. But that's also because I'm so well versed into Gwent that it was just like coming back home and playing a game that I used to play. I'm not even kidding. Every day for years, and just love the hell out of it. So, yeah, I mean that's really all I have with Gwent Rogue Mage. Do you have questions there, Zero?
No. I thought Gwent was always kind of fun. I didn't really play very much of it. I think I played it when it initially launched, which, again, super neat game. Just card games can get a little bit in the weeds for me because just when you get into combos, mechanics, certain metas you want to build, it ends up being it ends up, I guess you could say, becoming like side quest city for me, where I'm just like, oh man, I'd love to build that, but I'm so close to this one. Maybe I'll focus on this one and then try to do some things and get this other build going, and then it just kind of goes all over the place. So it's one of those things that, as much as I would love to just play some more Gwent and possibly pick up the single player expansion, I just fear it would just be side quest city for me.
What do you mean exactly by side quest city? Like you mean like you'll get distracted and not be able to complete it, or what do you mean by that exactly?
Essentially, I'll either get wrapped up into building one meta, and then it'll be, hey, I'm so close to finishing up this other deck. Hey, I should do that, and then, oh, hey, but this quest looks interesting. I should do this because it gives me more packs. Just, I guess you could say, sort of like an ADHD effect, where I'm just too thinned out and not really focused on one zone.
Well, then in that case, I probably would recommend you playing Rogue Mage. I mean, this is just a $10 game, so right then and there, I thought that's a great price for the game. But they essentially give you 4 decks that you have to choose, and then as you play, you gain cards, or you can remove cards, or not with that, and gain an appreciation of how to build synergies that way. But yeah, you're right. Like if when you play like a multiplayer card game like Gwent or like Hearthstone, you do get really in the weeds at times. Like, oh, do I want to try this deck or play that deck? And I heard this deck is in the meta, so I probably should use that. But I really like this deck, so yeah, I understand that part of not being able to want to dive into that too deeply. Rogue Mage is $10. If you've ever been interested in Gwent and the multiplayer part is what's kind of shied away from you, I'd recommend it, but be prepared. It gets into the you really have to read on every single card and what it does to play the game efficiently, and to some that might be a bit of a hassle. So if you're really willing to dive in and play, I'd recommend it. But yeah, I'll even admit they didn't do such a great job of trying to springboard somebody into playing the game. So on that note, I mean, if you're already a Gwent fan, I think you've already bought it. But if you haven't, it's a good game. I enjoy it.